Alright man, hopefully you can hear me. I'm going to have to probably be pretty loud, but I made a few notes about the Kamae and on what you might want to fix or improve. Most of what I saw was your hand placement. Just a quick note, when your hand is out, I know I said that, we funnel attacks here, but it's not so extreme that it's like out over clear over here, or like most of the time you're gonna be pointing at your uke, your opponent, right at their face, and and that's always gonna be pointing at them. So we'll go ahead and don't put the back of your hand to the uke. Always gonna have rigid hand posture. Fingers are together and the thumb needs to be against the hand for a lot of different reasons. If your fingers are apart, being able to do pressure points or grab fingers, break thumbs, whatever. So we keep them rigid. So I'll go ahead and re-demonstrate those, and I'll come a little closer to make some notes. Looked like your shizen was pretty good, or shizen, and then kind of windy. Your ichimonji was good. Your right hand is good where it's resting. A lot of different places, a lot of different schools will tell you, put it up here on your shoulder, some in the crook of your arm, some in your bicep. I mean, even some schools teach you down here below in your ribs, and some are pretty high. So that just varies on the school that you learn from, but we'll practice keeping it right here where you have it. And then, but your left hand needs to be pointing at your uke, and hands need to be rigid, but your arm isn't completely straight, so you have that right. And then look at your footwork. Hopefully you'll be able to see this, but so if I've got my feet already pointing at my uke, then I'm going to take my heel and I'm going to slide it back at a 90-degree straight back. And I don't know if you can see that very well, but you either want your feet to be at about a 90 or just a little bit beyond that for balance. I keep my foot pointed back just a little bit because I'm kind of tall and it helps me. But and you never want your knee to be over your foot that way or inward like this. You always want it to be over your toe. So hopefully you can see this. This is what it should look like. Okay, so from the side. And some schools teach you to have that stance pretty low. Some teach it to be fairly high and like on your toes. What I've been taught was 70% on your back leg, and obviously probably about like, you're not like in a horse stance at like at a 90-degree angle. So you're roughly like somewhere in between 90 and 180, so like around whatever that is. And so let's see, your shoshin was good. Just make sure, again, your hands, they should be right in front of your face. And then doko, your back hand. Some schools teach it where your hand is out like here or up here, and some by your forehead. In the school that I learned, you keep it like from your forehead straight back to almost conceal the strike. And some schools teach your fist to be like this, and some teach it to be like this, but this is from what I've learned, because as you come in for a strike, you're able to get that twist in your punch and all of that stuff, and also for comfortability. So doko should look like this. Go like this. You can lean back into this one because it's very much a very forward-moving attack. Let's see, Hicho. Make sure your leg that's up is always pointing to the uke for balance purposes. Also because if I'm here in Hicho like this, but I got my knee off to the side, then all of a sudden I've got all this space over here for someone to attack me, and then I'm gonna have to fall that way. So, so always make sure to point your knee at the uke, and also sink down. Let this leg, it's not up like this, but that you're sinking down into your. You should be able to balance a little bit, okay? And these hands don't have to stay exactly the same. They can kind of come in and tighten up your posture a little bit. So, okay. Let's see. Kasai is a lot lower, like a deeper stance than you've got it. And your hand isn't in a fist, it's like shielding your eyes, like you're blocking out the sun. Kasai is, like I said, it's a much further back, retreated, so probably almost like an 85 or a 90% on your back leg, ish, give or take. I don't actually know what the exact ratio is on that one, but this is what Kasai should look like. Some schools teach it to be up a little higher, some don't, but it's mostly a retreating kind of a thing. Someone comes out with you with you know, some sort of an overhead swing or anything like that. That's sort of a, you know, the first stance you get. Jumonji, knuckles need to be facing the uke. They're not like this, they're like this. And you can spread your feet just a little bit wider on that too. So it should look like this. And also, they're not out here, they're in closer, like this, and they're not touching. And some schools teach, depending, you know, my instructor was taught by a guy that learned with Hatsumi a lot later in life, and so Hatsumi was a little more naturalistic in his stances, and so, you know, before people were taught to be like this as opposed to like this, and so but what I find really useful about learning Jumonji with your feet closer together is that it's more natural. Because, for example, you're sitting there standing at the bar and someone comes up and pushes you, and then we practice going from your feet together, so it feels a little more naturalistic. Maybe not quite as traditional, but and then here and the other ones looked good. So practice with those small corrections and make another video, and we're good to go. I'll go from there.